Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Welcome to Moms for Justice. I am Carolyn. I'm going to wait and see, let everybody hop on. How are you guys? So it's a little impromptu, last minute, but I wanted to jump on and talk about the fact that Mentor Lawyer dropped an interview with Detective Craig Isim. This was yesterday. So now Mentor Lawyer is an amazing channel, and he has also asked that we do not do any reactionary, like play the video and comment over the video. So what I did was I watched the video very fully, and I'm going to give my own take on it and respond to it by respecting his wishes by not playing the video. And then, of course, when you hang up with me, hopefully you'll stay on with me. And then if you haven't seen it yet, you can go on over there and take a listen to it. Hi, everybody. And I have some other stuff I want to talk about, too. So hang out with Moms for Justice, and then you guys can go check out the Mentor Lawyer video. Okay, so Mentor Lawyer did a interview with Detective Isim after Donna's trial. And he's put up some clips, and I watched them very thoroughly, and he has answered a lot of unanswered questions that we have all had. So I'm going to go through some of those, and we'll check it out from there. I also want to take some questions. I want to talk a little bit about Donna. Is Donna going to get a new trial? What do you guys think? You think she's going to get a new trial? I don't know. I think it's doubtful because I don't think that that Judge Everett is very fond of Donna Adelson right now. And the fact that she's pulling these shenanigans, which are not necessarily unexpected, right? Because, of course, they're going to try everything they can to try to get her a new trial. You know, who wouldn't, right? Oh, good. Great. Okay, so some of you guys have watched it already. So please, I'm asking you, if you haven't seen it yet, maybe hang out here for a little bit and then go on over there and support Deep Dive True Crime Mentor Lawyer. Okay, so listening to Craig Isim, he went through the day of July 18th, 2014. So he said that he was called, we know the murder happened. He confirmed around 10:52 a.m. in the morning, Dan was shot inside the garage, sitting in his car. We all know that whole story. And Isim was called, and he arrived at 11:40. And he talked about how on his way over, he was, wondering and pondering, am I going to be the lead investigator on this case? He was probably pretty suspicious at that point that he was going to be that he was going to be the lead investigator on the case. He arrived at 11:40 a.m. that morning. And very quickly they learned that inside the home there were, or maybe it was from the mailbox, the utilities from the mail. The utilities were still in Wendi Adelson's name. Not in Dan Markel's name, Wendi Adelson's name. So that's important because that's the first thing they thought of was Wendi at that point, right? That's how they first started thinking about Wendi. I'm sure they could have, at that point, called in, which is what they did, got information on her immediately because they did not even know that there's a divorce at this point. They thought she resided at this residence. So naturally, you're going to call who's residing at the residence, right? So there was no evidence of a break-in. His cell phone was on the floor. And he didn't say this, but it almost like when you watch the interview, he insinuated that maybe they had opened up the cell to get her number. It is possible that that's what they did, but he didn't say that. But he made a point of saying the cell phone was on the phone, and then they tried to call her and there was no answer. I doubt that they used his phone to call her. He did not clarify if he used her phone to call her, but maybe they popped the phone open and went to W and looked Wendi's number up. Of course she didn't answer, right, guys? Of course she didn't answer. Anyway, again, he reiterated, didn't know anything about their personal life. He assumed that because she was on the utilities, that she did, in fact, live at Trescott. So then pretty quickly at some point, they locate Wendi on Market Street, but not by following her. So I just want to make any corrections that now we can confirm the fact that it wasn't that she came down to the tape and then they immediately started following her. That's not what happened here. Okay, so they knew she was on Market Street, probably by a ping, okay? And he went to go find her, and her van is parked at the Mosaic restaurant, and they recognized the color, and they checked out the tag number, and that's how they knew she was there. In the meantime, his colleagues, like other people from the police department, were getting info all day long, which could have overlapped how he was getting his information as well. So it was like rapid fire. And you can imagine that, right? You get to a crime scene. Calls have to be made at the same time. They're checking out the scene. They're trying to locate Wendi. It's possible that information about the fact that they were divorced at this point could have come to him before he walked into the restaurant. But he wasn't 100% sure about that. Okay, so yeah, he says he may have known about the divorce before walking into the restaurant, but he couldn't confirm that. So he walks in with badges exposed, holding the badge up. He said that the restaurant was not busy. This was around 1:15. She must have just sat down, Wendi, because she was running late for a 1 o'clock lunch. So honestly, she did not get to eat her delicious lunch. She probably didn't even get to have even a couple sips of wine or whatever it is, because if she's late for a 1 o'clock lunch and he's walking in at 1:15, she really has had no time to talk to her friends Janine and Ritu. He walks up to the table. He did not know which one she was. He just walked up to all three of them and said, "I need to speak with Wendi Adelson." He said all three of them looked completely shocked. Mouths open, shocked, just kind of like what's going on kind of a thing. Wendi gets up, steps away. They go about 10, 15 feet away. And he said, "I need you to come with me. Your children are fine. They're at the preschool, but I need you to come with me. There has been an incident on Trescott." And she had said, "Well, I don't live there." That was her first reply. "I don't live there." So then he goes on to say that he would not provide any more information, at least in the restaurant at that point, because it's very important, and this supports this. It's very important that you don't get them talking that early, because you want to get it recorded, right? You want to get her in a room, an interrogation room, even though it's not an interrogation, it is an interview. And you don't want to miss out on anything she could possibly say, right? So it makes sense that he would not be the one to give her too much information. So she turns and goes back to the table, obviously, to let the girls know. He visually witnessed that she said, "I gotta go." And they said, "Oh, I hope all is okay." And that was really all that was discussed between Wendi, Janine, and Ritu at that point. So, mentor lawyer asks him, "Did you ever talk to the ladies at lunch?" And at first he says much later he was introduced to them, but he never talked to them. But he did acknowledge that one of them, Janine Silverman, came later to the station, but it was others that interviewed her. It wasn't him. So back to the car. So he escorts her to his unmarked vehicle. She gets in the front seat with him, passenger seat. On the ride, he was not suspicious of Wendi at any point, he said. There was a very small talk kind of conversation that went on, but wouldn't explain anything to her in detail until he gets her to that room and gets her recorded. He described her as being very, very patient. But then at the end there, he did say that it has to do with your ex-husband. That's my dog Ruger. Did not tell her anything except, yes, this has to do with your ex-husband. No mention of him being shot, being assaulted, nothing. Not even like he was attacked or he's hurt. He said it just has to do with your ex-husband. So there's confirmation there that when Wendi was on the stand during Donna Adelson's trial, that, where did this come from? You said he told you in the car that he was shot. Now, here's what bothers me about that, guys. It doesn't serve her to say that he told her he was shot in the car. It makes it's better for her to keep it as if she learned at the station, so that her recorded, filmed interview looks like a true reaction of surprise. The crying comes out and all that. So I really think that maybe she just messed up on the stand. What do you guys think? Because why would she say that? I mean, we know Detective Isim never told her he was shot. And we also know that she needs it to look like she was surprised at the interview. So her coming out on the stand saying he told me that he was shot in the car, I think is just a complete mess up. That's all it is. It's just a coincidence and a mess up. She totally screwed up on that one. And probably is going to come forward at some point if she's ever indicted and has to be questioned and say, well, that I didn't mean that. I was confused or whatever. That's what I think. You guys tell me what you guys think. He did talk about in the interview room, the camera was well hidden. And then at that point, he had been made aware that Dan was on a ventilator, but he would not survive. Family was not in town, and they needed to contact his family, which we all know they were in Canada. He said that they believe that Dan was never, ever conscious at all. And confirmed that the guy that he was on the phone with, Dan was on the phone with the guy from the school that he was talking about for his son. He had heard grunting and gurgling, but there was never any indication of Dan speaking or asking for help or anything like that. So that was part one of Mentor Lawyer releasing a part one of Detective Craig Isim speaking, which is really a gem, guys. Like, I got to hand it to Mentor Lawyer. Like, thank you for dropping that video. Amazing information, and you really did clear up a lot of unanswered questions. So I so appreciate you. I'm all down for supporting other YouTubers. I don't want everybody for myself. I'm not that kind of person. And you know what I wanted to say to you guys? I always struggle with this whole thing. I struggle after I put out a video and go, did I say anything that wasn't, I wasn't absolutely sure about that, or, I can't stress enough how it's opinion and speculation on my part, but I'm trying to do it with a level of kindness and also trying to think about everybody else. I don't know. True crime is a rough one for me. It really is. Okay. So I want to say, there are YouTubers out there that are lawyers that are doing this case. And there's YouTubers out there like, Joel from SDS. He's a journalist. I'm neither. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a journalist. I don't claim to have everything perfectly right. Try to look at me or this channel as like one of you, right? Just like hanging out, by the way, new Moms for Justice mug. I got it. And you can buy one too. The store is right underneath on my merchandise shelf. But I'm loving my new mug. I got the smaller one and I'm really digging it. And I'm proud of it. It's my mug. Anyway, try to look at me as like just your buddy, like having a cup of coffee with, giving you some insight on what I found. But the goal here is to try to figure out this case just like any one of you, but doing it in real time on the channel. I just don't want the bar to be set like it would be if I was an attorney or I was a journalist, because I'm neither of those things. I'm just some regular gal that's doing this. So I think if people understand what each YouTube channel is about and what they have to offer, there wouldn't be so much criticism across the board because, and you know what? Loophole Lawyer and Judy from AA Legal Focus, they're like killing it right now. I just love their videos. They're when I first saw them, I was like, okay, I don't know about this matchup, right? But I started watching them and it is hilarious. You guys got to check out their little duo videos they're doing. It's really funny. And they make the AI videos. And they made some with Judy in it, and like, hey, go ahead, pick on me if you want. I don't mind making AI video about me. Anyway, it's really funny. And I know I just went off on a tangent and everything, but I wanted to talk to you guys about that because I just feel like there's so much cutthroat out there. Everybody's cutthroating each other, and it's just not necessary. All right, so I wanted to talk to you guys about Donna getting a new trial. But before I do that, I wanted to chat with some of you, right? First of all, what'd you guys think about Isim's interview? Tell me what you think. I'm curious. Let's see. And I haven't been paying attention to the chat, so let me scroll up and see what's going on here. Oh, thank you, Dennis. How are you? Sup? Let's see. What? What? Please don't even go there. Wendi arrested? I don't think so. What? What are you guys? Can somebody Google that real quick? Because I missed it. He just wants me to say it live. But you know what? I'm just going to check it right now. You're going to make me stop and check this. And if she's not indicted, I'm going to be really mad. Because I didn't hear nothing about that. It should be top news if that's true. No, nothing about that. I don't see anything about her being arrested, so I'm not going to report false news. All right. All right, let's see what we got here. Fairfield, California, North Carolina. I'm so glad you guys could catch it. And I like that I did a different time so I can get to other people. What? Are you for real? Guys. Well, if that's true, somebody send me a link. Thank you, Lola. You're so sweet. I try. I'm okay. Right? Yeah. Talk about tea, right? There's been a lot of guys out there being spoken about by Jeff Lacasse. And Sarah Youssef, she gave that impression too, in so many words. There's nothing on the court docket regarding Wendi, so show your receipts, don't spread rumors. Yeah, that would be pretty cruel to do that. Yeah, I'm terrible at second guessing myself all the time too. I think you're doing great. It's hard because I don't want to be like a cutthroat person and you feel gross and dirty if you're digging too much and you're like creating scenarios that aren't real. I'm just, I don't want people to take what I say the wrong way. Technically, they aren't journalists anymore. Well, I guess when you go to YouTube, takes you down a level in respect. You know what I mean? You're not going to be like the head anchor woman of CBS and then all of a sudden get a YouTube channel and then, I don't know. see. Yeah, I love Mentor Lawyer. He's awesome. He does. He's hilarious. But he's from the Northeast. Loophole, she says, Fire Rabbit says, loophole lawyer says some questionable stuff sometimes, but yes, he can be very funny. So I get it's personal for me because I'm from the Northeast. Like I grew up in New Jersey, but I was the singer of a rock band for like 10 years and I played New York, New Jersey, the whole thing. I used to play down in Hoboken, Long Island, and I know he's from Long Island. So he cracks me up. He reminds me of home. Um, yes, I do. I was just, you know what it is? I missed it, but thank you so much, Dennis. You're such a doll. Thank you. Yeah, I'm a one-woman show, so I'm getting used to this and I'm supposed to like check the comments. Sometimes I have stuff over here on my screen and then I'm talking to you guys. I have my notes down here, so I apologize if I will always go back and double check even if it's after the stream and I will send a message out. Okay. Confusing. Is the officer at the crime scene tape was told to make note of any car like Wendy's? How did Isom not know that she was Dan's ex? So my impression from Isom was that everybody had their job to do when they got there at Trescott. And he made that clear that there were some people doing one thing, some people, and it was very much chaotic and there was information overlapping and all that. So I think he just wasn't made aware of that at that moment. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he didn't know, but he knows eventually he did. He just doesn't remember at what point Isom found out that she was his ex. He did say that when he first found out that she was on the utilities, he had no idea that they were divorced at all. So, okay, interesting. Isom seemed enamored by Wendi. He kept saying how nice and cooperative she was. He was soft on her, let all these women in to hold her hand. So, yeah, I was for a second there, I was like, are you does he think she's innocent? Like, I wasn't sure. Like, and honestly, when he's on the stand during Donna's trial, I thought for sure he was on board with her being suspicious at the very least. But when I saw the interview, oh, and guys, I got something big to tell you too after this. Well, I think it's big. Um, I was a little like, wait a minute, does he actually think she's innocent? And that's why it's reminding me. When Mentor Lawyer put that up last night, a chill went down my spine because it made me think that's it. There's not going to be any more arrests. Why would they put this interview up? Um, Now I know Mentor Lawyer wrote something that there were things he said he couldn't talk about. Mentor Lawyer answered somebody when they said, "Why would you put this up when it could like interfere with a possible prosecution of Wendi?" And he said, "Oh no, before we did the interview, Detective Isom was clear that there was, A, B, and C he can't talk about." But it still bothered me. I thought to myself, wait a minute. Could this be the end of the road for all of us? I mean, is there no one else going to get indicted? Because it is a little weird that right after Donna's trial, this interview goes up. And you would think that Georgia would be like, don't talk to anybody, right? I still need you and don't talk to anybody. So, but Mentor Lawyer is saying that is not true, but it did bother me. Let me know what you guys think about that. Yeah, whoever started that, oh, Wendy that's really cruel to do that, guys. Who, there was a couple of you. It wasn't just one of you. Why'd you guys do that? That's not right. That's not funny. I don't find that funny. I know. You know what? At some point, I think I'm going to. I'm gonna start looking at my that's a really good idea. I'm gonna start looking at my chats and seeing who's on the most and just giving them that job. I think that would be a really good idea. Because I can't do it all and I'm still kind of like, frazzled. Is it sunny by you guys today? It is such a beautiful day here in Tennessee. I'm like, woo! Gorgeous out, just gorgeous. But we have had no rain in so long. We need rain terribly. Are you guys giving a thumbs up on the video? Make sure you like, subscribe, and share my channel. I'm going through the comments, guys. I don't want to miss anybody. Okay, so again, that's right. He said he never did. He never considered her a suspect, I think is what you meant to say. So why would he, though, at that moment, right? I mean, he knew nothing about them. He knew nothing about them. And you know what? She doesn't look like your typical suspect either. I mean, she does look like she's very put together, highly educated, granted, she looked like she was moving boxes that day. she had the owl t-shirt on and she looked like she was just, on one of those days, I have like a day once a week where like the hair is like plopped up. I look like a pineapple head and I've got, my workout clothes on and I'm just scrubbing tubs, cleaning the windows and all that. That's what she looked like. Okay. Yeah, I was very worried about the fact that Isim was interviewing. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you. Thank you. Charlie knows a lot. Charlie knows who is innocent, right? Is Charlie going to talk finally? That's true too. You could look at it that way. Stacy says, I think he was playing into her, feeding him voluntary info. But I think he was being honest when he said that he didn't suspect her. And I also think that that's I wouldn't have suspected her right away. I wouldn't have I would not have suspected Wendi Adelson right away. No way. From what I see and know about her, she's very charming. She talks very well for herself. I think she probably showed some concern as best she could because deep down inside, she was probably scared. Did you guys watch the Wendi Friends video? Do you have any questions about that video? I'm going on through, guys. Well, first of all, Harvey, why would he not be next? It was his office phones. The checks came from his office. The email was a shared account. He is all over this, right? He is. That's a really good question because I always go back and forth between these two. I always say to myself, Wendi should be next. But then I stop and think about it and I'm like, well, maybe they really have more on Harvey now because of the Donna trial. But I don't know. I'm not sure. But I think that they have a case for both of them. And I don't think they should be tried together. I think that would actually, murky the waters. They should be separate trials. Yeah, we all want to see breaking news about Wendi. It's time to get this show on the road, people. It's time. The Markells are not getting any younger. Okay, Vinny just put out a video. I didn't like him and his guests were all calling Jeff Lacasse ex at his interview with police was not believable. Really? Okay, I'm gonna have to check that one out. So I saw the one of him and Judy last night and I loved it and I was dying laughing. And then I saw one after that and I did see him talking about Jeff Lacasse and I heard him say that he's the man that every woman should marry. So I thought that was a nice compliment, but I didn't listen to the rest. So maybe he said more. That was not very nice. He can say things that are, in fact, I don't think he's being very nice about Joel either. He keeps talking about Joel's book. I'm not going to comment on that. Hi, welcome to Moms for Justice. Kind of new here, seen the trial and couldn't agree with you more. Thank you for joining us. I so appreciate you. You're a safe viewer here. I don't yell at anybody and I don't have any crazy rules. So you are welcome. Okay, so still with the experience the investigators had, I'm shocked he never considered her a suspect from the get-go with her awful acting. Okay, make no mistake. Make no mistake. At first, I think that she probably came off, fine, but I think it would not have taken long. I think within like an hour in that room, once she got in the room, an hour in that room, I would have been onto her. From the minute, from the beginning, like first 20 minutes, I would have started being like, whoa, wait a minute. When she's going through the purse, guys, about the keys, anybody got questions about those keys? Because people still seem to be confused about the keys. She has her purse open. She's, fumbling through her purse. Here, take my receipts, right? Well, how desperate do you sound? Most people don't have every receipt. And don't forget, her receipt was like on the seat of her car with the bullet bourbon also. But then she was looking for receipts for her gas, right? And then what a convenient time to talk about the keys. So the keys. People still seem to be confused about the keys. So I've had people comment to me about the fact that they have bought keys. Well, sure. I've bought keys too. Wait, hold on one second. I don't want to miss any of you here. Okay. I'm moving all the way back down to the bottom. Okay, keys. Keys. People have said, well, I bought keys for my neighbor, or I've given keys to my friends. Sure, well, I got a two-part answer for you. That is very true. But you usually make a set of keys for one person or two people, maybe at most, right? Your neighbor and maybe a girlfriend. Well, that's not the case here, okay? She specifically said, I made keys for all my friends, and this is recent, so recent that the receipts are in her purse, okay? So she makes keys recently, okay? And how coincidental that is, that it's right before a murder, when you're kind of like, we got to watch what she's doing right before the murder, right? We do think she's packing. She's taking the artwork down. She wants to go to Miami really bad, right? So, and then on top of that, she goes to whatever, Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever it is she went, and makes lots of keys and then drives them around to all her friends and drops them off. I don't understand how nobody sees that as being weird. Okay? Really, really strange. Now, some people say, well, why? Why would she want them to have keys? Well, there's a lot of reasons why she could want them to have keys. Number one, it could be because she knew the murder was going to happen and she knew she'd be tied up at the police station. She could have also thought maybe, just maybe, I'm going to get in trouble for this murder. And if I do, I need everyone in the world to have keys so that they can get my kids. I think it was more than just keys. I think maybe these friends got speculating here. I think each one of these friends got a package. Keys, documents, information about her children. I wish they'd come forward and talk and confirm if that is the case, but she could have easily done that. And then here's a set of keys. Maybe it's not just Aqua Ridge Way keys. Don't forget, she has a key to Trescott, I'm sure. She could have made keys to Trescott and given it to them. I mean, we'll never know until these people come forward and talk. But do you guys see my point? It's like preparation for something, right? And it's just odd that you would make keys for that many people. That's not normal. I hear dogs barking like crazy, and I want like somebody crazy. All right. I'm curious what you guys think about that. I want to debate you on it. All right, 2 people have my keys, my brother and my best friend. Right. So the neighbor, okay, and then you could solve this problem by putting a set of keys or a key underneath a bush, a rock, somewhere, or whatever. Why are you giving keys to all your friends? Why? I'm glad you think so, because I'm not quite sure, because I've had some people, most people have been like, yeah, you're right, the keys is weird. But I'm like, I've had some people go, that's not odd. I've gotten keys for friends. It's just the timing of it is just really, it's bugging me out. It sure sounded that way to me, unless he's acting for the cameras to put Wendi off her game. He sure didn't seem to suspect her at all in the ML interview, right? Way too many coincidences to not believe both Wendi and Harvey are involved. I don't believe in coincidences. I'm with you. When there's too many, yeah. And here's another thought. If you're telling the truth about things, you don't need to have a memory. Did you know that? You could walk around and not have to sit there and study or recall things. When you're telling the truth, you don't need to have a memory. You really don't. Okay, so let's talk about that, because that was brought up during the lunch date thing. So, Janine Silverman. So we've got 2 things with Janine Silverman. We've got the voicemail, and we've got the fact that Tamara Demko mentioned Janine in her interview. I have something to say about that since I recorded that video. I've come to a new realization, and we'll talk about that. But Janine Silverman, she very much was, she had messaged or left a voicemail, let me say, for Wendi Adelson while Wendi was in her interviews, hours into her interview, okay? She calls and leaves her a voicemail. And when they call her out on it, when the police call her out on it, she denies that she ever left her a voicemail, not realizing that Wendi had played it, okay, and not realizing that police were doing their due diligence and took her phone and heard it. I don't know what she was thinking, that she could actually think that they were not going to hear it. But I guess she thought that she'd get that message to Wendi before they would have taken her phone. Well, that's not the case. So when the police say to her, hey, did you leave this voicemail? Not only, the first thing she does is deny it at all. Nope, nothing to do with it, right? And then they're like, well, we have something. We can see it on the call log. And she says, well, then that was a butt dial. But it wasn't a butt dial, because she was clearly speaking a message to Wendi about the fact that Dan was shot. So why would she lie about it? And then the second time she continued to lie. He asked her about it again, and she was like, no. And then finally she, admitted that she had called. Okay, so that puts, Janine on the radar. Like, why would you do that? It could be something as simple as they hated Dan so much because Wendi convinced her friends that he was this awful, terrible, horrendous person, bad husband. And they were just like, under no circumstances am I going to do anything but support Wendi Adelson right now. So I am not going to cooperate. I'm not going to let him in on the little messages or little secrets that I have with Wendi, because they're just very much not on the side of justice, apparently, because they hated Danny so much. So that's my explanation for that. So then Tamara Demko does an interview, and she refers to Janine in the interview when she, on the 19th, is concerned about the death of Dan Markel, very choked up and upset. She cared for Dan herself. And then went to go to Wendy's house on the 19th, like a lot of people do. They show up to a loved one or a friend's house within the 24 to 72 hours after a death to comfort them, bring them a meal, start a meal train, flowers, sit with you for a period of time, comfort you. Tamara shows up at the house. Wendi answers the door, and Wendi was like not even upset at all. And this is the next day. We're not talking 72 hours. We're talking like the very next day. So she goes to the door, and Wendi was like totally fine, just like whatever. So Tamara comes in, and then she sees Harvey. Harvey has this really chilling look on his face, and it creeped her out to the point where she talked about it in this interview with the police. So I'm like, okay. So then she's looking around at who's there along with her to support Wendi. And she mentions Janine. Okay. Now, I have no doubt in my mind that Jane is there. She's got to be there, right? And a lot of people think that she really meant to say Jane because she talked about that, whoever this person was also with her during her interview the day before. And we all know that that was Jane that was with her. So she says, but I believe her name is Janine. Well, tell me if I'm wrong here, but it can't be Jane because Tamara Demko knew Jane in the social work department, correct? So she would have had Jane's name correct, right? So I am now under the belief that it actually really was Janine that was being all weird. So tell me what you guys think about that. I'm going to check in with you guys here. Sorry. You're right. I need moderators. I need some nice, kind moderators. All right. I'll start from the bottom up. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to keep reading the comments because I've had complaints that some people are just listening. So I apologize. I'm doing better with that. Okay. So Sky Stone says Harvey's not involved, but he knows his daughter is very unstable and knows that she shot Dan. Well, for him to know makes him involved, as far as I'm concerned. You're right. He might not be directly involved, but he's indirectly involved. But I wouldn't say he's not involved, right? Oh, I'm not even watching. Oh, how nice. Gosh, I'm not even watching right now. You guys are so nice. I'm very humbled by y'all. All right, let's see. Chris says, exactly. As a mom, that's the first thing I'm doing after I jump out of my car and run to that house to see about my people. You know, I probably didn't read what you were responding. Oh, it was to Katie. Yellow tape and police on the street where your kids live and you don't call the school. Okay, this is a big one. Let's talk about this one again. And I love talking about this because I'm a mom too, and I'm also a helicopter mom. I'm a little bit more on the paranoid side. I'm somebody that just, babied the heck out of my kids. And Jocelyn, who's my co-host on the night show sometimes, she says that, well, I know she's not because I've known her since I was 5 years old. She's not a helicopter mom. In fact, she would probably just let her kids like run loose, on a playground and be having a deep conversation with another mother and never look in that direction for like 20 minutes. And I'm like, forget it. I'm the opposite. I can't even have a conversation. I'm watching those kids. Nobody can get my eyes away from those kids. So anyway, all right. In the back of your mind, you know that your husband took your boys to preschool. If she's innocent. This is if she's innocent. Okay. If Wendi was innocent. Jocelyn's frame of mind is she was aware that the kids were in his possession for that night and that the kids had to be at preschool the next morning. So she would have known that he would have dropped them off. And the fact that there was a voicemail message from Dan that morning which was after the time he would have dropped off the kids and that he said he was going to the gym and then talking about the swimming thing, that she should have known that those kids were at daycare. Okay, I get that. I get that. But your love for your children, a mother's connection and bond with her children is so strong that even when something appears some way, we would still double check, right? Because I'm like, I would have pulled in and 10 people could have been standing there and saying to me, your kids are at daycare. Your kids are at daycare. I don't give a darn. I'm picking up the phone and I am double checking that crap. Let me tell you, because I am not, until I know that the school is on the phone with me saying, yeah, I'm looking at your children right now. Whew. Okay. Not a bunch of police. I don't care. I don't care. So poo-poo to that, right? And I'll tell Jocelyn every time I still would have called, you know? And another thing, guys, it doesn't necessarily mean a murder. Okay. Now, obviously the more likely thing here would be that you see that yellow tape and I would think something pretty sinister went down. Okay. What about a fire? What about a gas line was hit and everybody has to evacuate in that area? Well, still, that's a concern, right? You used to live there. That is a home that you bought with your ex-husband when you were married. You lived there. You raised your children there. Don't you want to know if their room is still standing and their things are still okay? I mean, that alone, I'd still get out of the car and be like, is everything all right over there? My kids live here half the time. Because remember, that was their home. Trescott was their home because they had joint custody. They split it half and half with each other. So it's not like, going to dad's, once a month or whatever. This is their home. And maybe even more so, because she was only at Aqua Ridge Way for a short time. Those boys probably really identified with Trescott as being their home. Am I going off on a tangent? Maybe. But it just reminds me of, you got to put yourself in it. I'm a 51-year-old woman who has raised children. So I'm putting myself in her shoes. I'm driving my minivan. I'm on the phone with a friend from England. I get to this tape. It's no questions asked, people. It's like, whoa, what's going on? What's up with, why is this tape up? Why are these police cars here? Wait, I used to live over there. What's going on? Boom. And on the phone, hey, hold on a minute. I gotta check on something. Okay? Put the phone down, open the door, get out, dodge over, run over. I'd probably run because, like I said, I'm a helicopter mom. Run over and be like, okay, what's going on? Is everybody okay? My children live in this house. They were just here this morning. My ex-husband lives here. And in my head, not out loud, but in my head, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I don't really like him anymore. That's why I divorced him. But hey, I spent, 5 or 6 years? I forgot how many years, but I lived with this man. I had children with this man. I was married to this man. Okay, I don't like him, but I certainly don't wish any harm on him. And I want the house to be okay. And I want him to be okay. And I want to make sure the property's okay. How about this one, guys? How about neighbors? You don't think that she at least maybe made a friend with a neighbor that on either side of her? Maybe she knew the Geigers, right? Wouldn't you want to know if they were okay? Forget Dan for a second. What about the Geigers? Because their house was parked right next door, right? It's right next door. How about, being a kind person and trying to find out if you could help with something? Okay, and don't give me about the whole lunch thing because she was running late for that anyway. She wasn't dressed for lunch anyway. I don't know. That's the way I think. That is how I try to figure out things because we can only go by our life experience and what we go through on a daily basis. And I just know that most mothers think like that, that there would have been no going to the ABC Liquors. There probably would have been no going to lunch. There would be nothing else on my mind. But what is happening here? Okay? And I'm so sick of people saying, well, she didn't like Dan. Why would she ask? Who cares? Who cares that she didn't like Dan? You used to live there. It blows my mind. Did I go on too long about that? A mom's first instinct would have been to check on her kids, and even if it was an ex, I personally would call and check. J-Bones 821, my dear she heard it was done and she couldn't help herself and she didn't realize the crime tape was going to be that far down the street and she screwed up. Okay, that's going to be the next thing I'm going to talk about. My theory, which is probably your theory. Victoria. Hi, Victoria. Your podcast is awesome. I'm just imagining Wendi watching this right now with an alcoholic beverage in one hand and a bottle of Xanax, cursing the television. Yeah, I don't think Wendi likes me very much. Yes, thank you. Crime Prano. I'm the same way. I have to see my kids with my own eyes. That's right. That's the way we're built. Nobody else is going to love and protect your children more than mom and dad, right? So I don't care. I don't care what anybody says about that. Okay. So that's part of my theory too. And let's give a shout out to J-Bones, right? Because I think J-Bones has the same theory as me. My theory is this, and it's just a theory. And I cannot stress enough, it is just an opinion, and I'm speculating here, okay? I think that she very much knew that the murder was going to happen. I think on the first trip, she was kind of left out of it. I think she was aware of it because she threw the pebbles out there. You know, she threw the bait out there for Donna and Charlie. And then when it didn't happen, the first trip, I think she got a little more involved after that because I think she felt, well, they probably need my help. They couldn't get it done the first time. So now I'm going to have to somehow get involved a little bit. Again, I'm speculating. And then on the second one, on the second trip, I truly believe that she planned to go there, not thinking the neighbor would call. Because the truth is, in most crimes, as long as the gunshot is not heard, there's some time. It buys you some time, right? I think she fully expected him to be found hours later, but by her, or she would be the one to find him. So this is one of those situations where it was immediate. And thank goodness the neighbors are next door, whatever. They're doing something on their little laptop in the living room, right? And they're they have one of those, ranch style homes with the 3-window picture window. And they're sitting there I think, helping his wife or something with a laptop. And they hear this. They hear it. Most people, I don't think, unless, most people are not home at that hour. They're at work, too bad for Wendi that they had elderly people living in that house next door. It would have been better if they had young families because then they'd be off to work, right? Kids would be in school. No, he heard it. And he heard it so quick that, boom, by 11:40, Isim is there on scene. So I think she thought she at least had 4 or 5 hours. I think she was a wreck that morning. I think because she knew about it, her stomach was turning. She was not feeling good. I think there were phone calls going back and forth. The TV repairman is showing up. I think she not only was probably packing, but I also think she didn't care what she looked like. And I don't think she was ever intending on going to lunch at all. I think she set it up so that it was there. But I think what she was going to do was drive down the street, find him, act like the grieving ex-wife, and be the one to make the phone call, you know, and that's why she didn't dress up for lunch. Again, speculation. I have to repeat that. And you know what? Someday you guys are going to know why I've been saying it so much about speculating. And I encourage all other YouTubers to be very careful and to constantly throw out there when you're saying something that it is complete speculation. So yeah, so that is my take on that. I think the owl shirt, the owl shirt, I know that there's people out there that have a theory about the owl shirt. It is very weird, very, very weird that on the 17th, Louis Rivera takes the picture of that owl and then he takes it down. And she happens to have an owl on her shirt. It is weird, but you know what? Until I hear more, I don't want to put that out there. All right, let's see what we got. All right, I'm going back, and you're right. I so need moderators. Okay, yes. Okay, Jolie. Wendy was afraid Dan would go to the school and have lunch with the boys and swimming after. Hitman won't do it if boys are there. Hitman go home and never come back. That's a really, really interesting point. And I thought about that too, with the whole swimming thing, about her saying like, no about the swimming, because what if Dan decided, you know what? I'm their dad. I think I'll go check him out early and go swimming. Did anybody ever think about that? Maybe her no to the swimming was because, it was a sunny day. He was not, it was a summer. So he's not currently teaching. He's doing work from home and going to the gym in the morning. What if he decided, you know what? I'm going to go swimming. I'm going to spend the day with my children. He was leaving. He was leaving to go to New York on the 19th to go see Amy. So I could totally see him saying, I'm going to go check my kids out, because we as parents, we do that sometimes, right? It's like a surprise. My daughter loves it when I do that. I did that just 2 weeks ago. She goes to a co-op one day a week because I homeschool, but she has a brick and mortar building she goes to one day a week with homeschool moms that are teachers. They're teachers by trade, but they're homeschool moms as well. And they teach whatever. One will do history, one will do that. And it's a co-op, and they've got like a lunch and a recess and even have a prom and all that stuff for high school. So anyway, she goes one day a week. And last week I was just like, coming to get you early. You know what I mean? It's like parents do that all the time just for fun. So how do we know that he didn't just, she was worried that he could go and get the kids early to go swimming? Let's see. This is interesting. Your theory is that Wendy and Charlie knew, and Donna found out afterwards. Interesting. I would love to know why you think that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I thought maybe that's where you were going. But yeah, to be the one to find him would be like, real sweet, right? This is so sweet. That would be sweet, because then one of the reasons, guys, in these women that off their husbands, you hear it, and you heard it in the Denise Williams case too. They refuse. Now, they did get a divorce. I know Wendy and Dan got a divorce, but here's the thing. There is something that these idiot women that want to get rid of men in their lives, they love the whole idea of being more of a victim than a divorcee, right? So people will feel bad for me more. Oh, it's so horrible what you went through. You lost your ex-husband, the father of your children. There is like a victimization in that. And there's like sympathy gained. It's almost like Munchausen syndrome for wives. You get all this attention. You get all this attention. Everyone's gonna feel bad for me. Everybody's gonna be like, oh, go ahead, move to Miami now. Yeah, and I think that she wanted that. I think she really wanted that attention. Because it's much easier it'll squash everything that happened with her in the divorce too. 'Cause there's some bad stuff that came out about her in the divorce that made her look bad. I mean, everybody at FSU who was siding with Dan would all of a sudden, all that would be wiped clean, right? The slate would be clean and they'd all be feeling bad for Wendi. So I'm just saying, women love the whole, oh my gosh, what happened? You lost Danny? The poor kids, is everything okay? Can I help you? A meal train gets started. Next thing you know, people are coming by with lasagnas and tuna casseroles. I didn't even talk about Donna, and I was supposed to. And I have a whole thing here. I was going to go through all the latest news with that, but we got yapping about Wendi. Hey, Jackie. She says 100% agree. She wanted to find him and be equal parts victim and hero. That's part 2 of my Wendi series. Nice. Everybody go check out Jackie. Jackie St. Germain. Yeah, so there is really something to say about that, right? I mean, especially her, loving to be the focus. Grew up with everybody babying Wendi, wanting to give her everything she wanted. And things were getting messy the last year before his death. She was looking pretty crappy. And I will bring it up about Dan's lawyer, coming after her for fraud. And it was going to be on the 18th. I mean, that would have made her look so bad. Wendi doesn't want to look bad. She wants to look great. One of the ways to look great is to show up and be like, I found him. I had to see him. And oh my gosh, I'm the one who called the police. I mean, again, it's just a theory. It's just a theory. They were exchanging the kids, last I heard, on the text. They talked about meeting up at 4:30. He wanted to take the kids swimming and keep them longer. But yeah, they were like arguing about how long to keep the kids. But the last text said, I'll see you at 4:30. Rima says when the crime happened, it wasn't the Adelson's second try. It was their third time. Charlie allegedly paid someone else and that someone took their money and never intended to do the crime. I mean, I'll acknowledge that I've heard that, but I don't know. I haven't heard it enough by enough people, so I never really talk about that. Right. That's a really good point, J Bones. Not to mention the hitman did everything in broad daylight. I mean, they couldn't do it that night, the night before, because obviously he had the kids with him. And they wouldn't be able to do it the next day because he was leaving. No, they needed it done on the 18th. But yeah, why not schedule it? Why didn't they schedule it for like the 15th or the 16th? Oh my goodness. I'm like so behind on your comments, y'all. I'm sorry. Do you guys hear my stomach growling? Because I'm like so hungry right now. And this mic, I have a really crazy microphone. You can't see it here, but my mic picks up everything. All right, I'm just going to scroll all the way to the bottom. Hey, April, how are you? I know that's kind of like my thing. That's kind of like what I wanted it to be about, like just gabbing with friends. There was one lady, she was like, I love going on your podcast because my husband's not allowed to know. I like true crime as much as I do, and it feels like I have a place to go. I think she purposely keeps changing locations so everyone thinks the kids are having more trouble than they are. She wants everyone to back off. I think she's changing locations because she's running out of places to go. I think too many people are probably recognizing her. That's very true. Good point. You're right, Wayne, because they had to align the date with when Jeff was leaving. Right. And on the first attempt, you know, he was going somewhere that time too. They needed it to align with Jeff. It's so interesting. It really is. So, okay, so Donna's new trial. I wasn't really paying attention to that, but September 15th, they filed it. I'm kind of like so done with Donna that I was like, but anyway, so the defense is citing juror misconduct. Juror number 7 went viral on TikTok. We all know about that. The post about being selected on August 26, 2025 was later deleted, and they say that they'll provide the video on a flash drive. Okay. Also, juror number 5 appeared on Surviving the Survivor and discussed considering Adelson's facial expressions and reactions, which the defense argues are not defense and should not factor into deliberations. I'm sure Joel's loving that his name was mentioned. Did you guys see my mug? Make sure you go get a mug. Moms for Justice mug. All right. STS. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, good for you, Joel. You're in the news, buddy. Now, that channel has been doing very well. And they have a lot of really, really good guests on. Oh, somebody said the other day, you get nice comments, right? And you get mean comments too. Somebody said the other day that I look like Drina Bernhardt, which I don't think she's bad looking. Like she's a little rough around the edges, but somebody was like, they were saying it to me, like trying to insult me. And I don't think she's bad looking at all. She's cute. You could tell she's cute. So I took it as a compliment, but I don't think I look like Drina Bernhardt at all. What do you guys think? Drina Bernhardt? Nope, I don't think so. Hey, Breeze, thank you so much. You're such a doll. A red down arrow with vertical words here. What am I missing? Rosie, go get your mug, girl. So check it out. This is a small one and I got it because of the black handle and the black inside, but I have a taller plain white one also that's bigger. I think it's like 16 ounce maybe? No, not like 11 ounce? I don't remember, but go get your mug. It's right underneath this video, my shop. Thank you, Brad. Yeah, kind of my heyday's over, but thank you so much. I try. I used to look cute when I was younger. Oh, thank you so much. By the way, I am Jersey. I'm from New Jersey. Okay, my stomach's growling. Did you hear that? All right. I love listening in time with moms. I take care of my almost 100-year-old mom, and sometimes I just need an hour's vacation. Girl, I get you. My mom lives with me. I'm not at that point yet, but my mother does live with me. But yeah, you have to consider, your mom gave birth to you. we should all be there for our parents. Okay, yeah, we should all be there for our parents. I mean, they brought you into this world. So, yes, she lives with me. She has lived with me for the last 7 years. And, it's not always easy to live with your mother, right? When you're older and set in your ways. It's hard. Okay, so this I've heard a lot. Drew Barrymore. Since I was young, too, I've heard Drew Barrymore. Okay. New York Patriot Lady, hi. Hey, Katie. Welcome aboard. Nothing's off limits here. I don't like cursing, though. If you can not curse, that would be great. Yeah, I'm going back now. Wendi was on the phone almost entire drive to Dan's house, another alibi. If she found him shot, the Cape victim didn't work. She ran late. Well, listen, she could have been on the phone with him and then said, I got to go, if she hadn't seen the tape, right? Maybe she needed somebody to talk to because she knows she's about ready to do that, to go over there and find him. And maybe she was on the phone with him to just keep herself calm. Oh, it's okay, Jackie. I don't care. It's just when people are like mean to one another. I'm from Jersey, so you should have heard my mouth. Whoo! Every other word out of my mouth was the F word back in the day. I just don't do it anymore. But I laugh and like I love hanging with my peeps when I like Jersey people. Like, forget it. But I'll be like, wow, I was really like that. But it's funny. It's funny, and I don't care all that much. Any detective would have a healthy dose of suspicion with a spouse, ex-spouse. The rule in, rule out is top of their list, and they would conduct the interview based on gut experience. Yeah, absolutely. They always look at your significant other. Hey, Teresa, how are you? Hey, Kylie, how are you? Okay, so back to Donna. What do you guys think? Do you think she could get a new trial? Do you think that, I mean, it does bother me that the girl was all over TikTok. When I first saw it, I was like, the juror was all over TikTok. I was like, uh-oh, is this going to cause a problem? I don't know. Very interesting. Would love to know. Well, at least you're not saying the words, J-Bones. Yeah. And listen, Kylie, I have a mouth of a sailor, but I'm a Sicilian from Chicago. Believe me, I slip. I just started like doing it for myself as a way to like try to like stop myself from doing it so much. So, I don't know. And it worked. It's working. It's working. Hi, Jean. How are you? Thanks for all your support, guys. You guys are the best. So, still waiting. If you guys are just joining us, somebody came on here before, like when I first started it, and like was trying to make an announcement that Wendi was arrested, and I was so mad. I almost went Jersey on them. But no, she has not been arrested. So if you scroll back up and you see those comments, you ignore them because she has not been arrested. And it was just a really cruel thing for somebody to say. Her reaction in the interview room says it all, in my honest opinion, especially since they told her info in the police car on the way. Okay, so 1 second. They didn't give her much info. So if you're just joining us, I will quickly recap that Mentor Lawyer dropped a interview with Detective Craig Isim, and he was able to answer a lot of unanswered questions or misconceptions that have been out there. And I went through them. But either way, go listen to his video. His channel's great. Make sure you listen to that video. It's really good. And it will clear up a lot for you. But in a nutshell, he said nothing to her with the exception of your kids are okay. And it has to do with your ex-husband. But he never mentioned shot. He never mentioned anything about him being hurt. Nothing like that. And that is the big thing that we all needed and that you'll get out of that interview when you listen to it. But Isim did seem to be just not suspicious of her at all at that moment. Oh, no. Are you referring to Detective Isim's? I did. Okay, have you shared the new details about Wendi? Yeah, so I just did. I went over Detective Isim's interview and about what he said to Mentor Lawyer on the Deep Dive True Crime channel. And he clarified some things about the day of the murder. Kate, hi. Okay, so I was born in White Plains, New York, and when I was 1 year old, I lived in Freehold, New Jersey. Freehold. And yes, very close to Manasquan. In fact, when I was younger, my dad had a beach house in Manasquan, and he would take us on the weekends because my parents were split up on the weekends to this beach house. And yeah, so the Osprey, right? I used to sing in a band, and I used to sing at the Osprey. I used to sing at Jenkinson's. I used to sing at Bar A. I had a rock cover band, and I played all down, up and down the Jersey shore. So that's cool that you're from Manasquan. Okay, what's your take on Isim's interview? Many think him talking means no more arrests. I hope that's not true. Okay, that's one of the first things I said, and I'll say it again, that the minute that I was like not even 2 minutes into listening to that interview, my heart sank because I thought to myself, what does this mean? That this interview is out here. It almost feels like all bets are off, that the arrests are done. That's it. We're not going to see anything more because then why would this interview come out? But then I went through the comments and I saw that Mentor Lawyer replied to somebody about that. And he said, no, implying that he said, no, that Detective Isim said that there were certain things XYZ he would not talk about in this interview. And I guess the assumption there is because in case there is an indictment, but it still bothered me that he came out and talked. And I thought to myself, why would Georgia be okay with that? If she was about to arrest Wendi, why would she be okay with Detective Isim coming out with this big interview about the details of the murder, the day of the murder? And it really bothered me. And I got to tell you, there is a small part of me that is making me think, that's it, guys. I hope not. I did hear your song, Jackie. Did you hear mine? I did one too. Mine's got more of like a country feel, and yours is like pop contemporary. That's pretty cool. I made a video for it, like she's driving in her red van. So make sure you check it out. Oh my gosh, so funny. Go check out Jackie St. Germain's song on Wendi. I know, right? Maybe Isim talking is to get Wendi and Harvey to let their guard down. Oh, it's kind of a stretch though, right? I would think justice prevails over that and not playing any games right now. Preserving evidence is important. preserving the witness testimony is important. It just bothers me. It's like a turnoff to me that he spoke. Really bothers me. And you know what? If it turns out that there's not going to be an arrest on Wendi, then I guess it really isn't a turnoff, because now he's just coming forward and just like dishing it all out. Yes, Nardies, Joe Pops. Nobody knows what we're talking about. She's a Jersey girl. So I used to perform at Nardies, Joe Pops, and the Seashell on the Jersey Shore. Yep. And there was another one. Started with an M. I forgot, it starts with an M. You're so sweet. I'm not hot, but thank you. I think that's it, folks. Not enough to catch Wendi, let alone Harvey. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. That is what I'm worried about. Prosecution is dealing with a large conspiracy. They had to take down the conspirators in order, and they are not done yet. Wendi may not get murder, but she will be charged as a conspirator. I really hope so. And I don't mean to get anybody's hopes, turned downward. I just know that's not me singing. Herbie Cassidy must have listened to the video. No, that's not me singing. That's AI. No, that's not me singing on my music video of Wendi. But go listen to my music video on Wendi. It's really good. Okay. I hope I didn't bum anybody out today with that about Isim. But I'm not just gonna say, yeah, Wendi's next just for views. I mean, if I think that maybe it's possible she's not next, I don't know. It just bothers me, that interview. Why would you do that? Somebody convince me otherwise. Oh, what is this to? Lavoke. Is it Lavoke? Lavoke. What did you say, Lavoke? Oh, I also thought Tamara was in love with Dan. Okay. And then Spam says, yeah, she was in love with Dan, but sort of a friend zoned. It seemed like a great friendship, but a strange relationship. For sure, they were attracted to each other. I mean, maybe they were friends with benefits. Maybe. I got that feeling that there was a little something personal there. Maybe. Rebound love. But absolutely, Tamara cried more for Dan than Wendi did. That says a lot. Her tears were real. And Rob Adelson was more choked up over his brother-in-law's death than any of them. I pray the boys learn the truth about their mom's lies and how much their dad loved them. Those poor boys. That is where my heart is first. I just hope that we all know that she's got arrangements made probably just in case, and I just hope that, I don't know. I would love to get an interview with Tamara. Yeah, remember Wendi said they are not going to arrest me. I think that's what keeps us all going, right? Because we're just and I bet you that fuels Georgia. And a lot of people, even in the police department, when you have somebody that you're looking for, you're trying to find, maybe they're a criminal that you've been chasing and they disappeared, and they put the picture up of the person. So when they go to work every day, they have to look at that person, or they put up the victim's picture so that they can look at the victim and remind themselves every day that they need to find the killer. Well, I hope Georgia comes to her office every day and plays that clip of her saying they're not going to arrest me. How awesome would that be? And I heard the grand jury met already. I heard they met already. And I thought, oh goodness, maybe it'll come. like yesterday, but haven't heard a thing. All right. So what do you guys think I go eat? What should I go eat? I didn't have lunch yet, so I need to make myself lunch. What should I have for lunch, everybody? And I'm going to be on, I'm going to be off tomorrow because I'm having dinner with friends. So I will not be on tomorrow night. But I will go on the weekend at some point. I'll either do a live. I'm also working on my next couple of videos. But I'm going to do another live with you guys maybe over the weekend. I am working on Courtney Clenny. I'm excited to do Courtney Clenny. But I'm going to always supplement with keep on this case as much as I can. And Jocelyn and I have another project in the works, and we will talk to you guys about that when we're ready also. And don't forget to support the channel however you can. If you want, you can go to my store. It's right there on the video. Just look at it underneath the screen there. There's my merchandise store. If you want to get something for your donation, you could do a super thanks, super chat. But I'm also thinking about doing the members only group as well. So we'll see. But either way, you don't have to do any of that. I love you all. I'm just so thankful for your support. Make sure banana bread. Ooh, maybe I'll make some paella. Sushi. I would love sushi right now. That sounds good. I can't eat White Castle. I can't eat White Castle. I will. Okay, I will. Sometimes I go on last minute because I'm just like, feeling it. Like I think I'll hop on. But yes, I will do my best. Make sure, Janine, that you turn on your notifications, because then if you turn them on and you put like a bell or a sound on it, then it'll let you know when I'm on. So, but yeah. All right. So I'm going to head out. And make sure you go support the other channels. Go check out Isim's the Isim interview with Mentor Lawyer. Go check out Jackie St. Germain. And I love you guys. I will see you soon. Subscribe, like, and share. And I'll see you next time, okay? Bye.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.